Well, Callum, let's just start with the fact you got your manager back on the training ground this week. It's not ideal when people like that are having to be absent. Has that made a difference this morning?
Yeah, it has. No, it's a very positive difference. He's kind of like your alpha, wouldn't you? You could say in a way, the person we look to and the person who manages us and guides us really. So it's definitely been a real positive boost for the group, and also it's obviously positive for him as well. So it's nice to have him back in and fit and healthy.
Last couple of weeks, it's never great to go into a sort of big break on the back of a defeat in the manner that it was to Coventry. How's that been for you, last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was really tough actually, because you feel it as well. Obviously, we live it like fans as well. It ruins your weekends. It ruins a lot of things, especially when you haven't got a game around the corner. Obviously, it was hard for me initially, and then obviously got brought into the Ireland setup. So then the focus has to switch straight away. So obviously I wasn't there for the reflection meetings, but I was able to watch them all online as well on our huddle. So it was a tough one to kind of digest. But I guess the beauty of it is you've got another game and another opportunity to put it right. We especially the message I'm trying to get across is these games are massive opportunities for us. We can't go into them thinking they're literally just another day at the office. We need to maximise it and take full opportunity of them.
Because I don't think anybody who was up in the West Midlands would doubt the commitment of any of the players. The effort was 100% there, but that second half must have been amongst the most frustrating. You're playing against 10 men, and as a team, you just couldn't get on the ball. Yeah,
and it's hard. It's obviously the message was, even from all staff, it was to put the game to bed. And us as individuals, we all see it. That's especially when you're playing against 10 men. That's the aim. That's the voice from the side of the pitch. That's in all of our heads. And obviously it's so frustrating the way. Obviously frustrating is probably the word I don't want to use. I could use a lot worse, but I'm not able to. But it was just soul destroying.
Yeah, and in situations like this, you win and lose as a team, but how much responsibility do the players take in comparison to coaches? How much can you do to put it right, I guess?
We're the ones out there. I think for me, they can tell us, they can guide us, but as soon as you step over that line, we're in control. It's all up to us. When you've got crowds shouting, and you can't hear them sometimes, and you're the ones on the pitch making the decisions. The best players make the best decisions. So ultimately, it is down to us, and we need to get it right. And it's been in our heads all week in training. We need to put things right, and training has been good. So it's implement it now, and instead of saying all the right things, it's doing it.
And that's what it's come down to, isn't it? Because the position you're in the table, you're not necessarily in trouble now, but you don't want to see yourself drift any further.
Yeah, of course not. But I think when you look around our group, and that's the hard thing to kind of swallow. When you look around, you see the quality and the physical and technical capabilities that we have. It doesn't reflect, and I think that's the hardest thing. And I know it's cliche, but we do need to stay together. We can't stop believing, and we need to give the fans something to cheer about, because it hasn't been right. We know that, and we need to put things right.
Yeah, and these are the situations where, as you say, it's time to let the sort of football do the talking. You can only speak for yourself, but as you look around the dressing room, do you get the sense that there's that collective will to put behind some of the mistakes and really kick on?
Yeah, we do. I think we've got a lot of fighters in here, and I think it's just bringing it all out, bringing it as a collective unit. Because listen, we're still gelling, and we say it time and time after again. As soon as it clicks, it will click, and when it does. Listen, and I've been in a lot of groups at Bristol City for the numerous years I've been here, and you can talk about playing squads, and which was our best squad. But the way I see us at our best, I think we could really hurt teams in this division.
Callum, go well at the weekend.
Thanks, mate.
Hi, Callum. It's Alistair here from
Alistair.
TV. I just wondered how difficult has this season been with obviously the gaffer having to come in and out a few times and not always being able to be there. How has that been as a player?
In all honesty, it has been tough. I think, like I just said then, he's the one we look to for everything. He's our manager. So listen, it's not ideal, but I think when the perspective of it, you need to look at it from a human point of view as well, and make sure he is well. So I think there's going to be times where we need him, but then other times where he needs to look after himself as well. So it's a tough one, but then in the same breath, there's messages that he can get over to us. In this day and age, it's not hard for us to listen to what he has to say, whether it be in training or video calls, etc. So there's been different ways of communication, but no, listen, it has been hard. I obviously don't want to lie about it, but we're just happy he's back in. And it was great to see him back on the pitch today, all well and happy spirits.
Absolutely. It'd be easy to put 2 and 2 together and say that has caused a bit of a distraction and hence some sort of unpredictable results, that sort of thing. What would you say to that?
With what, sorry?
I say it'd be easy to put 2 and 2 together and say that him coming in and out might have affected maybe some of your results in some way, whether it's concentration or unpredictability of some of the results that you've had. What would you think to that?
Listen, yeah, you can say all those things, but it's one of those where as soon as we step over the line, we're in control. Then we're the ones they're the ones that set us up. We're the ones that actually do things on the pitch. So I don't want to shift accountability. We're totally in control of what happens on the pitch. So it's a collective thing, but I think it does sway into more our favour because we're the ones playing. There's only so much you can do on the sideline, if I'm being totally honest, with how we set up and things. But ultimately, it is down to us, and we need to put it right.
How much do you think you can use it to almost, it's that kind of Dunkirk spirit a bit now, you're all back together. Do you sense you can get a real lift out of it these couple of days going into the game Saturday?
Yeah, it is. I'm very optimistic. That's the way I live my life, and I always try and be positive because you can't keep expecting the same results really if obviously you're not changing things. So we need to stay happy, bright, and it's just getting ready for the next challenge. That's the beauty of football. You're going to have a game around the corner. You can't dwell on it. There's no point pointing fingers and being negative. Obviously, pointing fingers is fine, but you can't dwell on previous. You have to switch your mindset to the next one and try and bring the best of what you can do to the game and try and do that with other players. I think that's kind of the message I'm trying to get across to everyone. It's another opportunity. It's not just another game. It's another opportunity for us to show the whole of Bristol what we're about, and also the division, because you never know what could happen in football. We could go on a run of 10 unbeaten run. Would it surprise anyone in the division? Probably not. It wouldn't surprise me. So that's something we need to do.
That home victory seems like quite a while ago now. It's only a couple of weeks ago, but the energy that you felt coming off that pitch as a group of players, how important is that going into Saturday's game, do you think, and sort of channeling that again?
Yeah, it will be. It will be, definitely. We know it's going to be, especially against Blackburn, it's going to be a tough game, but it's been a few weeks since we've been at Ashton Gate with obviously the international break, so I'm itching to get back there, and it'll be nice to see all the fans ready for the game.
Thanks very much.
No problems.
Hi Callum, it's
James
here from Bristol Live. Nice to sort of semi-meet.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, good. Just to pick up something you said earlier about living it, as a in terms of your experience. Do people overlook that a bit? in terms of how much you sort of care personally, because it's kind of a common criticism when teams aren't doing particularly well. It's X doesn't care, and the reality is often very different.
Yeah, you could possibly say that. I can only talk on behalf of myself, really. But maybe, football is kind of, for me, it's sometimes, does it take over my life? If I'm being honest, yeah, it probably does. I live basically for it. There are times where I sometimes need to have a kind of perspective on other things, whether it be family, friends. But listen, it's my job. I see it as something which, and I don't mind being honest, it's something which is a short career for me, and I want to maximise it the best I can. So it's, even today, it's going home, preparing right, whether it be rest, diet, everything's in preparation for the game. So, and I do think the way players are, and we have a bit of a laugh and a joke, whether it be, I don't know, going out for a walk with your dogs, or something, if that's right. Even some of the detail of that, and then you kind of pinch yourself and thinking, come on, like, what am I doing? But yeah, I don't know. I don't tend to read a lot of or anything online about, like you said, about if we care or not. But if, just speaking purely on behalf of myself, maybe sometimes I do care about football too much. But I do love it. Ultimately, it's my job. And even after I finish football, I'd say I'm 90% sure I'm going to be a coach, if given the opportunity. So I love the game, and it won't change.
Leading on from that, then, how are you kind of doing in terms of where you feel your performance levels, and I obviously know what you're capable of. How, in terms of your ceiling, how far off are you in terms of as you come back into the team?
I feel good. I was getting a little bit tired towards the end of the game against Coventry, but I feel even like my stats and stuff, I felt in a good place, and I think obviously the more and more that occurs, and the adaptation will kick in and stuff. So I feel in a really good place now, and I'm ready to kick on.
Because you're in you personally, I think, in this squad, you're in quite a unique position, because there is, I mean, as opposed to sort of previous seasons, we've had like Nicholas there and other sort of wide wingers, I guess. You are probably the only winger, natural winger. I guess you can make the case Antoine potentially.
Yeah.
But do you kind of feel? I don't know, in a way, yeah, I guess, well, I know you feel a responsibility anyway, but you have a very sort of specific role, and quite an important role in this team. Has that kind of been sort of transmitted to you? Are you aware of that?
A little bit, really, with I have noticed with the lack of out and out wide players. I know obviously players can do a job out there, but I'd also like to think I'm versatile as well. I know last season I played a lot. I think most of my games were quite central, in like a free. So I feel as though I can do a lot of things, but ultimately it's a team game for me. Getting on the pitch obviously is what you want to do. But if I can play a part, or whatever part it is, then I'm just happy to do that. So that's it, really.
Fair enough. A bit of a sort of a $64,000 question. How do you stop conceding so many late goals?
That one's a tough one for us. Also quite hard to digest, really. And of course, you probably ask the manager as well. It's honestly just a frustrating one, but I think it could be a mental thing, mindset. Whether it is to fatigue as well, which I don't think it is, because I think we're a very fit group. But listen, it's something we have touched on. I'm not going to go into full detail of what's been spoken about, but obviously we're not just going to leave it and let it occur again. There's obviously things happening behind the scenes to stop that and prevent that happening again. So we know what we need to do, and obviously it starts the first game back on Saturday.
So is that, you don't really go too many details, but is that kind of on-pitch technical work, or is it psychological work?
I think it could be both. But but obviously it's not. It's the elephant in the room. Let's be honest. It's happened a couple times on this season, so it's not going to be something that hasn't come up in conversation. But listen, we know what we need to do physically, mentally, and also tactically. That's also a big thing. Whether it be pressing the ball in our shape. There's multiple things that occur. It's not just one thing, and I guess it's just all being on the same hymn sheet, really.
Where are you at with kind of social media these days? You've been quite outspoken. Or say outspoken, that's probably the wrong term, but you've been open in terms of sort of your issues with it. Is that are you sort of active? Because I know obviously you're a younger lad, you're kind of of that generation, so I sound like an old man. But are you? Is it something that you said you don't read stuff? Do you completely switch off from it now, or is it something that you still sort of engage with?
Yeah, I don't really. I've kind of the odd Instagram login now and then, but I try and stay away from it. If I'm honest, I don't. Or kind of stay away. I don't really use it. I don't use Twitter. I don't kind of read anything. The only thing I do listen is to the guys behind the cameras there.
Fair enough. That's probably a wise decision.
Robin Steve.
Is that something do you think other players should do in terms of the switch off? Are players almost too aware of kind of what goes on externally?
I think they can do. I've been in teams where even a few years ago, not a few years ago, probably I'd say longer, about 10 years ago when I was at Oxford, I would see players looking for it on their phones, and I don't know, it's like they're looking for negative, really, which can eat away at players, I think, and you can see it when they're reading it. You're thinking, why are you reading this? But for me personally, I don't look at it. But no, I think it's not very healthy, unless you're Ronaldo.
Last one. You're out of contract next summer. I know there's an extension there. Is there any kind of sort of development in terms of what may happen?
No, really. Listen, with contracts and stuff, I haven't I don't really get involved with these things. It's something which I kind of just park to my agent and my representatives in the club, really. I just try and, I know it's cliche, but I actually do just try and focus on what I need to do in the pitch, and then everything else will just sort itself out.
Good stuff. Thanks for your time, Callum.
Thanks, James.